practically every one of the top 40 records being played on every radio station in the United States is a communication to the children to take a trip, to cop out, to groove. The psychedelic jackets on the record albums have their own hidden symbols and messages, as well as all the lyrics of all the top rock songs. And they all sing the same refrain. It's fun.
This is a special request. We don't want you to smoke genetically modified ganja. We want you to smoke the real thing. We want you to smoke the natural herb. Some call it marijuana, some call it sensimedia, some call it lamb's bread, and some people call it ganja.
Welcome to the Adam Dunn Show. Another Wednesday, and I'm here sort of alone again. I guess I got my talkative co-host, James. Say something, James.
What up?
There you go. That was about the most words we've ever heard out of James ever as a co-host. So thanks for keeping it real on that side. Never deviating from his character, obviously. And in the studio, we got Sam helping out. We got Chris rolling, doing millions of things at once. Not really doing the show. Are you doing the show? Or what are you doing? I see texts going back and forth. It is another busy cannabis week today. Even on a Wednesday. I mean, we never stop. Cannabis people never stop. What day is it? Wednesday? Award ceremony. We're doing an awards. So tonight, Cannabis Business Awards will be going down. Lots of our friends nominated, including ourselves. The Hood Lab nominated for what I'm calling the coolest place in the world award, but I guess it was a small business award or something like that. But we got to win that one. If we don't win that one, I'm gonna go up like Kanye, freak out. I'm gonna be pissed. No, I want everybody to win. I'm not gonna say I have to win, but it is nice. I mean, award ceremonies kind of suck when you don't win. That's usually like how those things roll. You think, I don't care, and then you get there and it just goes through everybody. It's almost like how when people go to an auction or something, and they're like, I'm not buying any of this stuff, and then all of a sudden they're like, get the fever, they go crazy. So tonight, 6 o'clock until 10 o'clock is the awards. We'll probably go through some more later when I can find a list and give our big ups to all those people out there. But I know it's a lot of familiar faces. I mean, some same ones from last year, but definitely some new faces on there. And I mean, this is such a big year, both good and bad, I guess you should say, in all good ways. Most a lot of triumphs, some tragedies, but all in all, I think it was such a big year that. I think this year we're definitely going to get some more momentum in this awards because I think a lot of people are now recognizing that this is, and it goes so fast too because it seems like it was only last week, and I was like, bam, we're at the awards again, geez. But it is, a lot going on in this industry, and it's good that we all get together on these kind of situations because then we can kind of clear the air or figure things out or move ahead because. I mean, there seems to be this is like probably the most makeups and breakups in any industry I've ever seen, like in such a rapid scale too. So like one day, best friends, next day, they're it just keeps switching. So, like I said, I think we're all in one giant community, so it's good when we all can get together and celebrate a little bit. Last week we went out to San Francisco for the opening of our last art show that I was telling you guys about, and it was. Pretty much off the hook as I expected. Great art. Lots of people came through. There's also the Emerald Cup was going on last week, so there was a ton of people in town. I didn't get a chance to go up. It was so close, but yet so far. Called enough people to figure out what was really going on. Seems like a really cool event. Nice to see kind of like a more traditional cup style-y thing, especially like the timing makes more sense. It's the end of the year when you actually have the cannabis. NorCal's been doing cups and stuff for years, way before the Cannabis Cup ever existed, harvest parties, and they were always like pretty closed community things. This was pretty open to the public, quite a big event. I heard guys from Greenhouse were there, guys from Serious Seeds. might be coming into town this week. I was hoping to have him on the air this week, Simon from Serious Seeds, but he's probably coming in later today. So, yeah, lots of seed people were there, lots from Europe, people checking. I think right now it's interesting because we've always gone to, well, people from America have always gone to Europe to see what's going down and to see the Amsterdam scene, and now pretty much it's like gone to the reverse where everyone's coming here, and it's interesting to see. I love to see people who have been living this sort of cannabis lifestyle for say 20 years, see how we've stepped our game up even further because, the quality here compared to Amsterdam is definitely. Can you raise that a little bit for me? Yeah, so I'm not bending over. There you go. So yeah, the quality over there is definitely kind of stabilized. Hasn't really gone to the point. Nice squeak. Thank you. That was very frank and squeaky. But anyway, so now I guess it's interesting to see how everyone's coming over to see how America does it. And to be quite honest, all Europeans love coming to the States. It's like, for them it's cheaper, and there's so many deals, and there's so many places to go to. So this is like the ultimate vacation to be able to come, go to California and go to a cup. Sometimes I'm wondering when people come to Amsterdam, especially if they're coming from California, you're kind of like, you're going to leave your perfect weather conditions to pack up all these clothes to go to a really cold and gray place that possibly could snow or rain or whatever at all times. Oh, the 315 update. Yeah, don't worry, Mike. You'll get your 315 update. And it's like, so then they all end up going from there to go to Amsterdam to complain about the weed and talk about how much better their weed was and their weather. So you're like, well, then now you can, it's a total role reversal. Yes, the 315 update. Okay, I might need some mathematical help here. So maybe, because I didn't really figure out the grams per watt deal, but I do know the digits. Okay, so we had 1,260 watts of power, and that was with the ceramic metal halides, each one 315. Spread them out 4 in the room, and our final yield came in at 1,030 grams. So can we figure out what 1,030 grams into 1,260 would equal grams per watt? Is that a possibility? No? You got glasses on. You're supposed to be a brainiac.
Can you write the numbers down?
Write them down. Okay, write them down. 1,260 and 1,030. So I would say it's somewhere in the 0.8 range, something like that, which to me is pretty good, because the reality was we put older plants in. We didn't have a chance to veg them underneath the 315s, which I believe would make them even tighter and more productive. But like I said last week and the weeks before, the smell. Oh my God, math! See, we're all retarded now. Nobody knows what they're doing anymore. What's that? That's not it. That's how many watts. That is exactly how many plant lights were in there. Okay, so now 1,260. It was 1,030 grams was how much is in the room.
1,030.
Yeah. So there should be some way to kind of negotiate that one, I'd say. What is that? That is not. There's no dividing by 4. Where does the 4 come into play? No, there's no 4. All right. Well, it'll take probably like 2 hours. It'll take longer for the whole crop to figure out what the actual grams per watt are. What are you thinking? Oh my God! See, I don't want to sit here on the calculator and try to figure this out myself, because I'm supposed to be hosting a show. But I figure with all the technology we have around us, we probably come up to that. Somebody out there can probably figure it out too.
1.2 grams per watt.
No, it is not 1.2. It's reverse, because if it was 1.2, it'd be over 1,260 grams, because 1,260 grams would be 1 gram per watt. We got 1,030, so we're 200. We're about 180 grams short of the thing. Yeah. So I'm looking at 180, 80 something. Hey, like I said, we have some mathematical wizards around us, so we should come up with something. But technically speaking, without even thinking about the exact number, happy as hell with that, because the reality is if you get anywhere over 0.5 gram per watt is already good, because a lot of times, people are blasting 1,000-watt lights and getting a pound of light. Well, that's less than half of what you're putting out, so that's really bad in my opinion. That's like 48%, that's not really efficient. So if these things are kicking out at 85% efficiency, then we're looking at a nice ratio. Now, obviously, a pound per light is low. A pound and a half is pretty much normal. What seems that most people are running without CO2 or without really pushing it too hard. When you hit 2 pounds of light, you're still not at a gram per watt. You know what I mean? So 2 pounds of light is what everybody's shooting for. So if these things can hit a gram per watt, which I believe they can quite easily, because like I said, these plants went in late. They were already pre-grown and they had, kind of hardened up a little bit. So if you put them in younger, tender, got them out, you would end up with a better yield. So if we can hit a gram per watt, then we just add more lights. You're running, say, 3 of these per every 1,000. Then you're a little bit over 1,000, or you're a little bit under. Sorry, you're 945. See, we're really good with numbers around here. It'd be at 945, so you'd still be under 1,000 watts. But if you could get, like I said, if you can get 0.8, 0.9, or up to a gram per watt, well, you'd be crushing it. And that is the idea of this whole game, is to obviously get the most efficient yield. Biggest yield's not necessarily the most important thing, but efficiency is really important. So like if you're putting in X amount of dollars for power and equipment, et cetera, you do want to get back a certain amount. Now, obviously, quality always outweighs quantity in any department. So, this thing does actually produce quality. That's the other part that I was sort of pushing before, was that I was and still am happy. I haven't smoked any of this weed. Maybe it's going to be terrible and not get me high and taste like cardboard, but I don't think so. By the smell and I already know the strain, so I don't think it's going to be a problem. So there's your big 315 update. One day we'll know exactly how many grams per watt that was. One day. Come on, guys. Everyone just failed on me. All right, somebody out there is a mathematical wizard who can throw in here. Maybe we'll win a prize. I'm not going to tell you what it is because I don't really have one. But so we had I'm trying to get some. I'm always trying to get hosts here. This is my goal in life, is to try to get hosts on. Now, there's some people in town from the Jamaican government that are here talking about legalization of hemp for ganja and hemp in Jamaica, which would be pretty huge. Talked to Jason Love yesterday. He said that we're down to be on the show, so I'm trying to get their info from him. He's being very cagey. Bam! That sounds about right. 0.73. That would be a little shy of 0.75, which I was thinking more like 0.8. You don't know how you got that? That's pretty close. You divided one into the other, obviously. Yeah, well, I think that's right. I don't know. There you go. From the school of I don't know. We will educate you on the ways of maths. I hated when people used to say maths. That's really English, actually. So anyway, if we can get them on the show, that'll be more enlightening Caribbean experiences, because we've talked to the guys from St. Vincent before and saw what was going on down there. And it just seems like the momentum has definitely hit the Caribbean now, because I think they've been in this weird zone where everybody knows that everybody smokes and everybody knows that's how things get paid. But then at the end of the day, it's still illegal, So I think if we can break those boundaries, then, tourism will increase humongous. And it's not just about tourism, though. It'd be also the quality of tourism, too, because, if everybody's, and also the funny thing, too, going into the Caribbean, the first thing you do when you get off the plane in Jamaica, it's like, if you don't smell weed within a second, it's almost a miracle, because usually somebody is on the tarmac smoking. There's somebody around I literally got off the plane when I was, I think I was like 18 years old. I landed in Montego Bay, and they opened up the doors and I could just smell weed. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And then I had to take a small flight from Montego Bay to Port Antonio, and there was 2 pilots, and they threw my bags in the back of this little Cessna, and they were so high. Like, these guys were baked, you know what I mean? And they were like, took me in the plane and showed me the ganja fields, and stuff. So definitely they've always been proud. And that's 30 years ago, So realistically, they were definitely always cannabis friendly in one way, but now is even more interesting because we're talking about hemp as a viable, which would be interesting in a country like that. That's so, it's an island that's growing a lot of cannabis. So that would be the ultimate test of whether or not we can live, symbiotically together, because that's one of the big fears of hemp production is the amount of pollen that it's going to produce. And realistically, 5 to 10 miles should be a good barrier. But then again, who knows? You know what I mean? This would be a great indicator, because you're talking about an island which has got trade winds that are pretty substantial. And like I know in Morocco, there is definitely pollen traveling from Morocco all the way over to France and, past Spain and up to France. That's much farther than 5 miles. Of course, that's on the ocean, and that's more like how Jamaica would be. I mean, here we might get away with less of a distance between our crops, but that could be an indicator. I don't know. That's one of those ones that could definitely kill that deal pretty fast the minute that people start getting hemp seeds growing in their Sensi, which, it took us years to get them to grow seedless weed to begin with. And the last thing we want to do is force them to grow seeded weed again. We'll see. But hopefully I get them on the air. I tried to call a few other people that I know down there to see if I could get some cross references going on, but I couldn't quite get it together. But we will see. Like I said, this has been our struggle on the show, is to get people to either they're up too early because it's on the West Coast and they're not ready for us, or it's rah. So what else did we have going on today? Oh, I want to give a shout out to my sponsors, of course, because that's important. They make everything possible. Way to Grow. These guys have been doing this for over 11 years. Biggest shop pretty much in Colorado, I'd assume. I mean, there might be some other people out there trying to shoot for it, but I doubt it. They've got 5 stores. Their latest store is 21,000 square feet. Quite a big store. Great products. I showed last week one of the new products they had from Sunlight Systems, which was their new winch that brings up sun winch, which would bring people lights up and down. Now, I'm trying to get my kid on it, but he's real sick right now, so I don't really want to torture him while he's sick on top of everything. So we will be giving you an update. I will be lifting the kid. We will make sure this thing actually works. But awesome stuff. So the guys over at Way to Grow, they have a new shop, which is down on South Santa Fe, and it's basically, I think I've got to get these addresses together too. I'm really terrible with that. Easy to find though, just south of the Home Depot, just driving along there on that whole crazy construction site. You can blast off to the right when you get to their spot. They're getting signage up this week, so it makes it a lot easier to spot, but you will see the big 4x4 out front and stuff. And now like I said, they have a great selection of stuff. They can beat anybody's prices. And, I'll be giving you guys heads up when I'll be down there, and then you can jump onto my super discount, jump on my trail, get the Sage Master discount if you come down when I'm there. That's awesome. Here we go. Bam. 1051 South Platte River Drive. That would be the one, I would think. And so they've got 6 locations now. It's actually interesting. Jumping up. I thought I said 5. See, that's how good I am with numbers and stuff. So make sure you get me by the info. So yeah, Way to Grow. Thanks, guys, and we'll give you an update at the end of the show. And our friends over at Boulder Wellness, growing lots of our THC strains, and on their own, Be Well Kush, Cup winner. Winning cups all over the place. I think they won the Rooster Cup. Pretty much everything they enter, they win something or place. So those guys are keeping it real. If so, definitely go up there for some great deals. I know a bunch of people who literally drive up from Denver on a daily just to get their specials because it's worth it. It's and if it's worth a drive all the way from here to Boulder, it's got to be worth it. That these guys are quality and price conscious people, so they're making sure they get the best value. And like I said, if it's worth the drive all the way up there from here, it's definitely something special. So make your way up, and they are on Arapahoe, right near 58th and Arapahoe in Boulder. So that was my little sponsor tip. Got to do it. And what else do we have on the agenda? I don't know. Without Flargle here, it makes it hard because I usually just can make fun of him for an hour, and then that's the end of my show. So without him, I'm always a little struggling. We got any call-in? Nothing except for Big Mike. No New York, nobody. Damn. Still waiting, by the way, in case my guy out there from the lighting company from that lighting show I'm still waiting for those T5 replacement bulbs to test them out to show everybody. Not sure what happened. I actually received a lot. It's also, this is the classic time of year where you don't get your packages, or you get packages, from last year maybe. Who knows that? But I've got about 20 different letters from FedEx and things, and I'm all confused, and they never write down what they are. So it's like, now that there's so many packages coming in, I'm just like, I'm lost. So if you're listening, I never got those bulbs, so I'd love to see them so I can tell people what is going down. So Saturday, let me think of things that are coming up, because I always forget that too. But this Saturday at the Hood Lab, we are having I think it's our third Uncontrollable party from the drum and bass crew here in Denver. And we've got Freaky Flo from Canada, which is kind of old school. I mean, people haven't heard his name in 10 years, they said. So it's like interesting. Me personally, I mean, I've been living in Europe for so long that a lot of these names are people I've never even heard of, but it's great to hear. Like, I was at the last party and I told somebody Freaky Flo is playing, and they're like, wow, Freaky Flo. That's the reason that I got into drum and bass. So definitely old school. There's going to be some great old school vibes there. We are starting that one at 9 o'clock, I believe it is, and goes until 1:30. Great sound system, great people. Parties have been pretty epic so far. We had RAW last time, and that was crushing it. So, like I said, Freaky Flo, Saturday, Hood Lab. That's the next event coming up at our spot. Oh yeah, last week we also had the Secret Cup in town. That was a interesting one. We had our first female winner, world champ. I don't know if it's world yet, because we're still only like states or national. There we go, national champ. Mortimer, congratulations. I think it was Mortimer Says was the name, right? Sounds awesome. Kind of interesting. I have a feeling 2014 is going to be all about the ladies. I have a feeling. It seems like there's going to be a lot of like transitions. That's my guess. I don't know. I think that this is like the time when we're going to be like, all right. Let's see, because a bunch of dudes running things, that doesn't always work. And the cannabis industry has very much been a dude-orientated thing. So I'm pretty happy to see some women up there showing us how to do it, especially when it comes to making, edibles and hash and all these things. These are like pragmatic stuff that everybody can do. There's no and a lot of times, like when it comes to the whole cannabis and growing and stuff, what I've noticed over the years has always been that, like, when you went to a garden and it was like a lady would be taking care of it, or it was always like she never boasted about it or nothing. She just kind of showed you what's up. And then you go to some dude's place and it was like he'd be telling you like he was God himself, how much he did, and you're like, dude, whatever, man. You put a light up and you got a plant growing. It's not that it is complicated to a point, but it's not that complicated. So I like when people are just a bit more relaxed, and that's one of the things I think. Like, my mom is one of the best growers out there, obviously, that I know. So she's knows how to, she's just relaxed around it. And I think that's part of the deal is, being nice and relaxed around your plants. So, and I guess around your hash too, making your hash you're also, the thing that's interesting about cannabis in general is whenever you're like, if you're making something or growing something and you're all stressed out, definitely the plants kind of absorb a little bit of that. So usually, you get your tweaker friend who's growing some weed or something, and he just is all over the place. He waters them one day at 11 o'clock, one day at 2 o'clock, one day at 6 o'clock, one misses a day here, misses a day there. Those plants are like erratic, whereas if you're kind of like on schedule and you kind of hit them up each day around the same time, and you sort of get into a rhythm, then they just kind of respond for it, so I think part of it is everybody thinking that they can do too much, and I'm 100% guilty. I always have too many things going on, but I always like to try to surround myself with some people that can actually make it happen. Right, James?
Yep.
Yeah, see? There you go. Actual words of wisdom from James.
The bulbs are due at the warehouse tomorrow, and then out to you guys.
Awesome. Oh, good. Okay, cool. I'm glad you're listening. That's because my mom asks me every day. She's like, "Where's those bulbs?" And so I'm like, I don't know. I think they're coming. But then there has been so many FedEx things lately. I was like, I don't know if I missed it and they got sent back or something. But good to hear. awesome that you're listening. And I can't wait to try them out and I got a great new place to do them too. So this is going to be fun. We'll be able to put them side by side with brand new bulbs and from the competitors, and let's see this thing go down. And so yeah, Secret Cup went down. We had the VIP section at the lab for 2 days, which was awesome because we got a chance to sort of see what was going down I wasn't actually going to be here because I was going to be in San Francisco. So I got to, one day to just meet up with a bunch of the competitors and see what was in. Was very impressed. It's definitely interesting to see the transition from the, semi whatevers to the semi whatevers to the finals. And definitely the quality seemed to go up. And I think also, because this industry is so rapidly changing that, if you started it, for instance, in January of last year and now you're coming into December of this year or whatever, January, and you're in in that 1 year, things change dramatically. Like maybe, quality's gone up 10, 20% easily, if not more, across the board, just because techniques and people kind of helping each other out or moving ahead. And I have a feeling that that's also about to happen too, because it seems like everybody's kind of moving towards closed loop systems. Everybody's kind of got to have to perfect their craft again. So, yeah, big changes. I like it. I mean, that's how this industry grows, and at such a rapid pace too. Like that's one thing with this industry too. You'll see like lightning speed, especially in these next few years, because now people are actually got a little bit of money behind them. Up until now, everybody's been it's been all self-financed stuff. And, once you get to a point where there's actually, a board and people are voting on stuff and they're pushing things ahead, I think things are going to move even at lightning speed. So good to see. Got to see Bobby Nuggs when he was here and a few other friends. That's what I also like about all these cups, is that it just forces people to come back to Denver. It's kind of been my protocol forever, is I'd rather have the party at my spot so everyone comes to me, because I wouldn't say I'm too lazy to get there, but I got just too much things going on, and it's like, wow, it's a lot easier if they just kind of roll into your spot, So, and Denver being our spot collectively, it's even nicer, right? So you don't have to go nowhere. Things just come to you. 420's coming around the corner. 710's coming. This one's coming. So how many holidays can we create? I don't know. Probably at least it'll be 2 more. I mean, we're going to have to come up with at least 2 more. Then we're like every other month is a major cannabis holiday. I think we're at 3 right now, right? So we just need 3 more for every other. And then it's pretty much like you're just endless, What other big news out there? Give me some news, guys. Did you hear anything great? What's that? Oh, let me see. Ooh, drum rolls, please. Got a huge list of people from the awards tonight. I guess I'll just run through some of them since it is the day of, and you can't vote anymore, so I can't really be like pushing people to vote for any of these. And I don't know if I should read them all off, but let's see. Activist of the Year is going to be an interesting one, because we got Jeremy in there, Jeremy DePinto, and we also have Jenny Cush. So they got that thing in lock, I'd say. They between two of those ones out of 4, got to be done, right? So I think this is going to be a big Jenny Cush celebration again, just because it isn't that long ago, and things, people. It's going to be interesting. We all get together, and we're obviously remembering all these different things that have gone down, and obviously that being the biggest one, I think, in our community and like I said, in a good and bad way, because the good being that we all gelled way more than we were, and I think we were at a really weird moment in time where the whole industry was started getting really kind of weird, and now it's nice to see it going the other way. Let's see, we have. Well, obviously, I'm not going to talk about myself and my great award that I won last year, but no, we do have for right here in this studio right here, we have a nominated. which is what is it now? The best publication? No, the best
Media outlet.
Where the heck? There's so many awards. I could never read all these awards. If I did, this whole show would be over. So you'll have to just come to the awards. Here it is, most valuable media source. We had Westward, Canna Pages, Hemp Connoisseur, Culture Magazine, and iCannabis Radio, which if you guys didn't vote for iCannabis Radio, then we'll be very disappointed. So I'm assuming there'll be a big win. Huge celebration. I mean, this go on for weeks. Years maybe. No, they have MVP awards. They have the most valuable media source, which is just announced, artist of the year, product of the year, bud tender of the year, best publication award, most valuable small business, People's Choice. That sounds like a very important award. Oh, look, Hood Lab is on there. Amazing. That's got to be the one. Most valuable cannabis business, People's Choice. People's Choice for best infused product manufacturer. Invention of the year, manager of the year, most valuable nonprofit, most valuable cannabis industry organization, cannabis industry leader 2013, industry hemp's most influential individual. That's an interesting award. Most influential individual, and let's see, People's Choice for best MMC, most valuable advocate. And like I said, I started with Activist of the Year award. So there's quite a few awards. It's going to be awesome to see all the same, all the familiar people, plus all the people coming to check out what's going on. And I mean, we're down to 2 weeks before Meltdown. What's that? Denver Meltdown.
Big Mike wants to know what's your favorite strain besides Sage, and then why does Subcool hate you so much?
Mike, always coming with the big questions. Favorite strain? Well, I mean, I have to say sour is probably one of my favorite strains just because of the East Coastness in my blood. I could say Kush, of course, because they're both balancing. But sour is probably being my New York fave, I'd say. And also just because I know that that's one of those... Everybody seems to think that it's gone or something. Like, I can't. Because I think also everybody smoked it when they were younger and more easily sort of swayed one way or the other. And of course, our memories aren't as good as we think it is. So everybody thinks it was like better than it was. But that plant definitely hits all the notes that I like as far as flavor and, it's just a real satisfying smoke, and that's one of the deals. It's like real weed, and you can make great. I mean, it makes awesome extracts. The water hash coming off of sour is like already like goo. You know what I mean? It doesn't even. So definitely that would be my fave. Subcool, I don't know. Just his chick. It's not like he doesn't like me. I think his chick doesn't like me so much. And it's only because I basically questioned the Jilly Bean, and I didn't really question it. I just agreed with another guy just like you who's typing in saying that Jilly Bean or that Tangy was just another cut of Jilly. And I just said, look, I have to agree it has very similar qualities, that's for sure, because they grow very similar, they taste very similar, they smell very similar. So to me, that it's called similar. It's like there's not much you could say about that. So I just said that, and of course, Ms. Jill had a little meltdown over it or whatever. They had songs, they had rap songs made about it. It was quite funny, and not very good ones, but they made some rap songs and ripped off some Eminem beats and whatever. So I'm not too worried about it. It's fine. Whatever. Everybody's got their own thing going on. So yeah, it was the Jilly Bean drama. And then Matt Rise, of course, didn't help it out by blasting it out there that I had quote unquote said it was that. I didn't actually say it was that. I just said that it was very similar to that. So whatever, that's how things go. And this industry is going to always have drama, and I think that's probably how most of these people make money selling seeds anyway, is by the drama around them. It's not even about the actual genetics sometimes. So if you want to make a good seed company, just create a lot of drama, and you'll probably get a lot of business out there for a little while at least. I've always had a brick and mortar shop in Amsterdam for 20 plus years. So pretty much I always felt if you have a problem, come to me. Or, when you're in Amsterdam, because most of these people do come to Amsterdam. So, if they come to Amsterdam and then they don't manage to come to the store to air their beef, or if they don't come to Denver to air their beef or whatever, then it's not, it's not really a beef, obviously. So, and of course, I don't sit behind the computer and just blast people all day and try to like make myself look bigger than I am on the internet. So I think that's kind of how different companies developed, So Subcool kind of developed more on the internet before they developed as a seed company, and then they became a very big seed company because of the internet is probably the most powerful tool out there for selling seeds if you want. But personally not. I never did any mail order, and I never really was into that whole side. So we kind of come from different camps, you could say. Well, we'll see. I mean, I'm sure I'll hear something about this down the road. You said they did. And that's it. But I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to try to get in touch with Jason Love and see if we can get our guys from Parliament in here. Oh, we have a caller, actually. Let's see. Bam, that could, who knows? Hello, you are on. Oh, they hung up. Boo. Call back. We were just about to take a break, but then we had a call. So if they call back, we will not go on the break. If not, I will go on a break in the next few minutes and be back, hopefully, with Jason Love. And if somebody calls, oh, there they are. Bam. You're on the Adam Dunn Show.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
How you doing?
Doing good. I had a question for Adam here on a news article that came out on NPR.
Tell me about it.
Basically, the founder over there, I think it came out yesterday, Keith Strope, is concerned with basically legalization sticking and making sure we don't have any like reefer madness backlashes. And he brought up the point of concentrates. And basically, my experience, I've been burning flowers for, plenty of years, and had a client of mine one time, hey, you got to have this dab, you got to hit it up. And I know you guys are all connoisseurs of dabs, but it blew me away. I had like an afternoon of shit to do that basically got canceled. And
right.
Not that it wasn't enjoyable, but yeah, my question is like, what do you think about it? I see potential negativeness coming in the news with the full legalization of concentrates without being with their sheer strength and people that aren't experienced at all getting right into them.
Yeah, it's going to be that'll be one of the things we're going to be watching start January 1st here, because I think a majority of the people coming here are not only coming here just to try cannabis legally for the first time, let's say in their own country, but a lot of them also to try this new thing they've never tried, which are these concentrates. And that'll be curious to see, because also the fact that we don't really have a system here for places for people to smoke like legally, so basically if you came here, came in from New York or from somewhere and you went to the shop, you're over 21, you're legal to buy it, but there's really nowhere for people to consume it properly. And especially with the concentrates, I think that's almost where you kind of need to have a comfortable place to do it, because that is part of the deal. Like you said, it really, especially the first time, it might knock somebody back a bit. It's not, to me, it's not the danger factor, because for me it's like when you concentrate something that's benign in a sense anyway, you're not concentrating anything that's like more dangerous, but what you are doing is creating a kind of a more of a dangerous environment if the person isn't aware of how to smoke it properly. You know what I mean? So that so that could be.
I just fear news spins, like the news putting negative spins on it.
Oh, for sure, and it won't be hard. That's the thing for them. If they want to put in, if you're if you're the new Anslinger of now, let's say, then you would definitely go after concentrates. That's pretty much where I could see the easiest way to like make it look worse than it is. Because even the first time that I ever saw people smoking, like in a shop in California, I'd seen it at my friend's house, but I hadn't seen it in a store, like in a situation where people were sitting, and it was, to me, it was even a little bit like, ooh, this, how long is this going to last? You know what I mean? And this was 15 years ago or something like that, but it's, it was just a matter of how things change so rapidly, so, but I think, they could definitely go after it, which would definitely be, very easy for them, because it doesn't take much.
Well, I can see the tourists that are, enjoying plenty of quality pints out here, and then also they get into a concentrate or some very nice herb, and the blame gets put on the herb instead.
Sure.
More than likely they were, have a problem with alcohol being drunk.
Yeah. No, and again, that's like the classic where if you're not so experienced, and it really comes down to timing and place, and like if you're like, I know that if I definitely don't like to catch like a really heavy buzz with alcohol and then go straight into some cannabis. I like to kind of balance them out together. That's because I know that the minute you do that, you get spun out. You know what I mean? And that is like just like the learning curve of a stoner, right? You're like, oh, better smoke some weed while I'm drinking, because if I wait too long, have a couple more drinks in the sun, and then hit that pipe, you might just spit out.
Oh yeah,
and
drink enough to get your first time courage up is definitely the wrong thing to do.
Definitely not. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that is going to be the sort of dividing line, I think, like with a lot of these legalization things, is they're going to look at concentrates for these next couple years a lot. And luckily for us, though, the reality is, as fast as like the negative news comes out, we're also learning a lot more about this, and we're getting, I would just say, better at what we're doing. You know what I mean? Better at making it and better at consuming it. Because I mean, there was hash oil back in the 70s. And it was just as powerful as the oil that's out now, even more powerful, because they were refluxing it. You know, they were doing more to it than they do now. Like here, we just decarboxylize it, so we get it to its natural active state. But they would actually amplify it, but they just didn't have a good way to smoke it. So it was always like, now what do I do with this stuff? You know what I mean? And then it just died off for a while. But now it being back with all these new ways to smoke, that also keeps it all fresh, I guess, and that's why it's going to be hard to put your finger on it, because people, as we because now it's all pens too. It's not just about dabs, let's say, and pens are way more relaxed. You could smoke a pen with oil in it all day, and you hardly get the same effect as you do when you do a dab. So I think it's
well, I just thought that's a good reminder here how close we were in the 70s, and everything got pushed back, and they're saying, it was 43 years later or so here, but
exactly. And then and I mean, I don't think it was for instance, it wasn't the oil at the time that really made that they could just kind of go on anything and scare the public. But now it's obviously danger to make it. It's a danger, so people living close to somebody else who blows up their place or whatever. Definitely not a good thing. So I mean, I could see them easily. They're easy to put a spin on this whole thing, but I hope that we're like smart enough to get over that. We're not gonna let that rule us.
Awesome. Well, thanks for all you guys do there at the show, Adam. It's pretty sweet. I'm actually a consultant and grower out here. You mind if I give a quick plug to my site?
No, go for it.
Check it out, guys. It's dudegrows.com. Everything's there for you. Tons of YouTube. Educational videos is what I'm after. All these new growers are going to need to know what's going on with growing. So
sure, and it's like I said, it's always evolving so fast that you pretty much got to keep on it, because what we do today is maybe like for instance, like on a growing side, 10 years ago, nobody even knew what a mycorrhizal was, and now it's standard, It's like, oh, which product are you using? And like 10 years ago, if you talked about mycorrhizals to people, they'd just be like, I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about, And
it's still in the infancy of research. They still don't fully understand all that. It's always, learning curve is always there.
Oh, for sure. So I'm sure you'll have plenty to consult. And where are you based out of?
Just here in the Denver area.
Okay, nice. So for sure, like check it out. Anybody out there who needs a little bit of help, and how long has the site been up?
Oh, quite a few years now. But it's just evolving a lot more now with everything coming and all the more opportunities, and not fearing of hiding behind anything anymore. It used to be a site that wasn't plant specific because of where we were at, and now it's completely plant specific. All you guys are going to see is pictures of plants and growing from seed to harvest, and using a bunch of Reserva Privata's awesome genetics. So
great, nice to hear. Well, cool. So keep in touch with us, and maybe we'll get you some of our awesome genetics to try out and see what we can get.
Actually, one quick question: when are you going to be able to sell your seeds to the general public soon, or is that going to be an option without having a medical card?
I'm not really sure. I think it's still going to go through the medical thing for the moment. I am talking with some people now about bringing the seeds out via them, just because I was kind of on the anticipation that it might go fully legal and that would be the way to go, but I think that's going to take another year or two before they can really get to that point. But keep your eyes out. THCs will be back out and around. So
awesome. Good to hear.
Hey,
have a good day, guys. Thanks.
Sweet. Thank you. All right, we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to try to get in touch with Jason, get back, and I'll see you guys in about 5.
Cannabis is a delicious and effective medical marijuana beverage proudly made right here in Colorado. Each bottle is freshly infused with 100% pure flower extract from the highest grade marijuana plants available today. Using proprietary extraction methods, every bottle of Cannabis is consistently and reliably infused with an exact milligram dosage that you can count on to relieve your symptoms each and every time. Cannabis is delicious. There's never any medicine-y taste. We use only 100% cannabis flowers. No trim or byproducts are ever used in Cannabis. It does not require refrigeration and comes in convenient, resealable multi-dose bottles from 60 milligrams to 200 milligrams. We have drinks with dosage that works best for you. Cannabis is available in a variety of delicious flavors like black cherry, watermelon, pineapple mango, and blue raspberry. And we now have strain-specific beverages available just for you. Cannabis is delicious, convenient, consistent, and effective. Give it a try and experience the Cannabis difference.
Call Canisher at 1-800-420-5757 for all your insurance needs. Canisher understands the risks you face each day, and we are there to protect your business and your investment. Since 2010, Canisher has been serving the cannabis industry nationwide. Call Canisher at 1-800-420-5757 or visit us on the web at canisher.com to learn more about our insurance and risk management services. Proud member of the NCIA.
Independent Records and Videos has been your locally owned and operated choice for music, movies, and lifestyle accessories since 1978. Independent Records and Videos has 7 locations from Denver to Colorado Springs to Pueblo to serve your entertainment needs. Whether it's vinyl, CDs, DVDs, books, smoking accessories, or hundreds of other fun and fanciful items, Independent is ready and waiting to make your dreams come true. We are always buying, selling, and trading vinyl, CDs, books, and DVDs, so sell yours and buy ours. Independent Records and Videos, your entertainment headquarters. Check us out at beindependent.com or on Facebook.
Whether you are a commercial grower or cultivate as a hobby, No Dough Urban Garden Supply is Denver's first stop for your hydroponic grow needs. With a wide range of products including House and Garden, Botanicare, and Fox Farm, their knowledgeable staff can get you started on your first garden or help you with your well-established business. No Dough Urban Garden Supply is located in downtown Denver at 1330 27th Street, 4 blocks north of Coors Field near MMD of Colorado. They are open 6 days a week from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Call 303-296-3424 or visit them on the web at www.nodoughurbangardensupply.com.
Independent Records and Videos has been your locally owned and operated choice for music, movies, and lifestyle accessories since 1978. Independent Records and Videos has 7 locations from Denver to Colorado Springs to Pueblo to serve your entertainment needs. Whether it's vinyl, CDs, DVDs, books, smoking accessories, or hundreds of other fun and fanciful items, Independent is ready and waiting to make your dreams come true. We are always buying, selling, and trading vinyl, CDs, books, and DVDs, so sell yours and buy ours. Independent Records and Videos, your entertainment headquarters. Check us out at beindependent.com or on Facebook.
This segment was brought to you by The Farm, a medical marijuana care center located at 2801 Iris Street in Boulder. The Farm carries premium cannabis, edibles, and Hummingbird brand products. Visit our new cannabis lifestyle store for your local artesian glass, vaporizers, and hemp clothing. The Farm has been serving Boulder since 2009. Isn't it time you come and see what we have to offer?
The Law Office of Edson, Maton, and Matz provides criminal defense, family law, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running a medical marijuana center, optional premises cultivation operation, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout the state of Colorado. We're focused on providing high-quality service and customer satisfaction. We will do everything we can to meet your expectations. WarrenEdson.com. Edson, Maton, and Matz in Denver, 303-831-8188, and in Aspen, 970-948-7183. WarrenEdson.com.
Tired of dispensary hopping? Trying to find quality meds? Look no further and get to know Greenworks. Our shops are stocked with over 20 strains of organically grown meds, including R4, the highest tested CBD strain in Colorado. Yes, we back up our quality with testing. While Greenworks offers only the highest quality meds, we don't believe in high prices, with eighths ranging from $20 to $40 and ounces capped at $175. With 2 centers in Denver and 1 in Glenwood Springs, we're likely closer than you think. call 303-647-5210 to find the location nearest you.
Are you a medical marijuana patient or interested in finding out how to become one? Contact Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. Conveniently located on Hamden and Tamarack in the Whole Foods parking lot behind Proof of the Pudding. Mile High Wellness offers a wide variety of edibles, hashes, and some of Colorado's top strains. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. 3525 South Tamarack, Suite 110, on the corner of Hamden and Tamarack. 720-382-8516. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern.
Ideal 420 soil is preloaded to perfection with all your nutrient, microbial, and biostimulant needs. It's compatible with all strains and is good for a 22-week grow cycle from seed to harvest. This product is 100% organic and gives your marijuana that awesome aroma and smooth taste we all desire. Ideal 420 Technologies is well-grounded in soil chemistry, soil physics, and microbial biology, making them the most advanced soil company in the marijuana industry. They do the science so growers can focus on what truly matters, the plants themselves. No more mixing and feeding of expensive nutrient lines, supplements, and foliar sprays. Not to mention, the company is prideful in being the most consistent soil product that has yet to hit the market. Due to the results when using Ideal 420 soil, they are quickly changing the standard for cannabis cultivation. To order the product, go to ideal420soil.com. Use promo code INTHELAB for an additional 20% off.
Are you a runner? Are you a runner who supports marijuana legalization? Run on Grass is a group of athletes actively seeking to change our marijuana laws. We speak the truth about cannabis, bringing the message through our feet to new ears. Check out runongrass.com to find out more about us, our events, and how to join up or how to sponsor a runner. If you're in the Denver area, please join us for runs or start a group in your area. Running not your thing? Any sport can do it. On grass. Runongrass.com.
National Cannabis Industry Association would like to thank its members who represent the leading professional businesses in America's emerging legal cannabis market. NCIA is the only organization that has unified legitimate cannabis business across the nation to fight for real reform in Washington, D.C. For more information or to make your business a member, visit us online at thecannabisindustry.org.
I'm Gary Johnson, and you're listening to iCannabis Radio, and I want to say, talk it up, Colorado.
Yo, welcome back. Well, as expected, in my lameness of getting guests, the Jamaicans are not answering me phone, man. I don't know why. I'm trying to get a call through. I don't know. I don't really have a number, actually, but I'm trying to get, if Jason Love is listening, get me that number, because you're supposed to get me on the air. But we'll see. Hopefully they get on. I had some interesting questions for them if they do, so we'll see. But like I said earlier, the idea that the Caribbean may be going possibly legal is a game changer all around, because we're now covering all bases. South America is a guarantee, I'd say, with Uruguay already fully legalizing, and not only that, but taking control of the market even, like the government. May have to call my buddy Gatto down there, too. I was going to call him the other week, and then we got so caught up with Rob Clark that I didn't have a chance to call him up. But could call him and get a little update. I will look him up and see if he's even online. Because, like I said, Uruguay, another country which was never on my map when it came to cannabis up until recently. But it is nice to see that that's possibilities now. New countries like that about to increase their tourism by an incredible amount, I can imagine, because I don't think I've almost never heard someone say, hey, I'm going off to Uruguay. But of course, Buenos Aires, Argentina, things like that. But now that I think that's going to become like that second places you would go, or you go there on your way to Uruguay, So, had a question from my buddy Big Mike about storage of wax. Well, and this is one of those things, it depends where you live. Everywhere different. California being a completely different animal than Colorado for humidity's sake and temperature swing and all of those things. The waxes in general are going to not store so well in the long term, just because they are a wax, that everything is already kind of in a motion. Everything's activated. It's great because it tastes really good because it's very terpy, but that's because they whip it. When you're whipping stuff, you're you're breaking up cells and you're making everything very aromatic, and it's awesome, but it has a shorter lifespan. If you leave wax sitting around for a few weeks, it'll pretty much drop a few notes, and even more, and sometimes a lot. Sometimes like almost all the things you liked about it are kind of gone. Shatters are going to be more stable. That's, they're in a more stable form. But generally, well, I wouldn't say generally, but on a norm, they tend to be less flavorful because you've trapped them in there. And it's really important with your temperatures and your timing, and that you get it in there at the right time. And that's a thing you need to learn through experience, and one of the great things about this industry, well, now it doesn't seem to matter because everybody's got tons of product to work with, but up until a certain point, the reason that this whole thing stayed kind of exclusive was because most people didn't want to risk losing any money, you know what I mean, or any product. And you have to not look at it that way. You have to pretty much look at it like it's just a medium that you're working in, and then you work with it, you know what I mean? And then you don't get all this overly, worried about, like, you're not going to do this because it's going to cost you that, or you're not going to, you're going to skip this step to save that buck, you know what I mean? And that's usually, it's better in the long term. I mean, maybe you might be able to do that after 10 years. You can say, all right, well, I can skip this step. But really on the learning side, you definitely want to just try to do everything you can do so that you're not wasting, you're not like, you're kind of in an experimental stage. So you have to learn, and that's part of the game. So a lot of people just don't want to do that. Like when I was laminating hash, sometimes I'd lose 5 grams of hash or something, it's inside the laminator. Like the whole thing would open up and spill everywhere, and it was probably the best hash I could have at that moment. So yeah, it hurt. It was painful. I wouldn't be able to smoke it. It would be all burnt up, or, get all melted or stuck to the rollers. But then I would realize, well, that's probably why people aren't doing this kind of stuff, because they would be like, no, it's too much. You don't want to lose that. But yeah, once you've, got over it and you kind of look at it, it's like, well, this is just grab some more and go to work. Yeah, then it's not such a problem. So for instance, like with storage of waxes and stuff, I would say consumption at the maximum level would be the best storage possible. Meaning smoke that shit fast because it ain't going to last too long. You don't really want to sit on waxes anyway. I mean, they should just move on, be smoked or move on. And if you want to store like shatter and stuff, yeah, it's pretty much simple. Just like you would any cannabis, cool, dry, dark, stable, not huge spikes. You don't want it to be somewhere where it's going to get really hot one day and really cool one day, because that'll definitely screw it up. That was this. Hey, relax over here. Squeaky chairs around here. They're getting people in trouble. James sometimes. Since he's so quiet, just the chair squeaks. That's all you get. You don't know what's going on over there. So yeah, I would say but parchment paper is definitely better than those silicone things. Silicone things are cool for day to day, but not long-term storage, just because it's not necessary. You know what I mean? Those are more for carrying it around, and they work well for the non-stick factor and all that. I just don't think that you want to keep it like, you just want to keep it as flat and tight as possible. And if it's, you don't want it to be like, I mean, literally, if it's in when I start squishing them into these things, they end up coming out like little balls, and then I'll heat them back up and flatten them out again, because I can't really get a good dab off of it because it's so thick. It like chips off and stuff. So yeah, keeping it in those parchment paper in an envelope, awesome, or just a little, some sort of paper or those silicone sleeves. But again, like, we're in this sort of like all these concentrates, they haven't none of them have proven the test of time, in my opinion. Like, I don't think they store nearly as well as real hash. Like, if you make hash, dry sieve hash, sit on it for 10 years, you know what I mean? It cures a little bit, it gets a little different color, nicer flavor, but it doesn't lose integrity. Take water hash, and chances are you will never get it from person A to person B in the same condition, and definitely not to person C. So just because of the water changing, and every time if you open it up, some evaporates, and stuff that was really beautiful and looked all nice and solid, a few weeks later, it's sort of falling apart. It's like brown sugar, like kind of like that Mexican candy sugar, you know, that terrible, not such good, like the quality is just not there. So there's not much integrity. You get that kind of styling. And with the solvents, it's really going to be down to run by run. Was it a propane extraction? Was it a isobutane extraction, a butane extraction, mixtures, vector, Newport? So there's so much variables within it. It's not like we're just talking about it goes into water. Water's water. So it's cold. How cold was it? That's pretty much our biggest variable within the water. Oh, it was too warm. Figure that out, you know what I mean? Whereas with solvents, we're always kind of like, okay, maybe this batch buttered up, you know, but sometimes when you see it butter up, it butters up in one tiny corner of the pan, and then it moves its way across the pan, and you don't know why, you know what I mean? So, and you can sometimes cut it out and save the day, and sometimes you can't. So, yeah, there's a lot of R&D in those things, and there's a lot more to be said. So long-term storage, I would say, is definitely parchment paper, flat, keep it, you know, cool, dry, dark, all the basics. Little case or something like that helps. Something like that. And, you know, with all these concentrates, I think convenience is the most important thing too. So if it comes out, you know, if you're going to be, whatever you're smoking a lot of, try to keep it away from whatever you're not smoking a lot of, so you're not like rummaging through your stuff to get to whatever you're smoking, because I've seen more stuff get wrecked that way sometimes than you know, just having it organized and stuff. But it's interesting. Everybody has their own technique and their own system and their own little setups and stuff. So, I mean, if I ever get my bag, which I've been talking about also for weeks, if I ever get my bag, Sheldon, I could be showing it off right now. Boom. Still haven't got one yet. Did that help anybody on those questions at all? Was there a response that was like nothing?
Zong asked if anything's going on Hood Lab for New Year's Eve.
Officially not. There's the at the Castlemans are going to be doing something, and last year we were the the official Club 64 grand opening, so that was fun to be part of. But technically, New Year's is one of those holidays where I feel like if you either got to go for it or not, because people make such big plans on that night. It's like, oh, it's so hard to organize. So I'm thinking about maybe doing something small just as a sideline for myself, just because I don't have the baby and everything. But at the same time, there's no major deals going down there this year that I know of. But last year we didn't know that either until last second. I think we decided to do Club 64 on the 30th. So we had one day to prepare, you know. So that could happen. Who knows? You know, we'll find out. Yeah, and of course, New Year's coming up. This is when we go into that weird time where everybody just sort of like you better get your stuff done this week. Whatever it is you want to get done, get it done this week, because at the end of this week, like once this weekend kicks in, it's pretty much like Zombieville. Everybody just turns like, ooh, like nobody's at work, things are closed, people are lame, nobody answers their phone. They're with I mean, just like it's a funny time. It's definitely like, and then you get all the depressed Christmas people who you didn't know they were even depressed until all of a sudden Christmas kicks around and you're like, what is going on here? But yeah, looking forward to it. Got my kid. So that's kind of what my Christmas is going to be all about, figuring out what I'm buying for myself that I'm going to pretend is for him. That's going to be the new game. He's not quite there yet, though. Right now, where the toys are still kind of tame. But once we hit that remote control time frame, you know, it's going to be, whew. And have you seen how cheap, you see how cheap those things got in the last, it's crazy. I'm like, at the gas station, they've got remote control planes and helicopters that would have cost thousands of dollars a couple of years ago are like $100, you know. China, man, those guys, unbelievable. Bringing it to yeah, as you can see, I don't have much on my plate today. I'm just definitely wing-dinging it here. Hopefully with the new with the original sidekick back, so James can go back to the massive amount of things he needed to be doing over there. Usually he's in the corner really holding it down, and we're just now we have him pretending that he's not doing stuff. It's really bad, right? You want to get back to work, I can tell. But when we get real Flargle back, whew, talk about high energy. Energy level through the roof. I mean, when that guy's on board. So, come on, Flargle. Come back to work. This is the only job. I can't believe he left us in the second episode or something like that. Third. So yeah, then we'll have better news. I know there's a lot of news out there. I keep reading stuff. I always read stuff, and I think I should kind of maybe jot it down for the show, but then I end up not. So, where do you think you're going, Chris?
I'm gonna go do something real quick.
What? Oh my God! It's a meltdown around here. It's a meltdown. Yeah, we need to get some more. We needed our guest to come on time. That's always a good thing. Sheldon's still late from two weeks ago. Jason's not answering today. So yeah, today's a pretty. I already knew it this morning. I was like, ooh, am I even going to manage to get one guest on? We did get a phone call though. One phone call was pretty good. I'm already impressed. Thanks for the phone call. You made us look very professional. Anybody else out there that wants to call in, please do. I don't know if Al's out there listening to me out in Amsterdam. If he is, call me up. Make this show something. I mean, he could be my second guest host. You could be my guest host, I think, from afar. So I actually might have to call him in because he's from Jersey, and he's got that quickness. So Al, if you're listening, call on in. Guest host. And anybody else out there far and wide in the world who is either listening to this show because they're an old friend of mine or whatever, feel free, give me a call. What was the number here anyway? I always forget. 720-381-1420. Bam, I nailed it. I knew it. 720-381-1420. You can call by Skype. It's cheap and free, and you can't give me no excuses because we're in that age where communication is basically free. So, got no friends. There you go. That's what I knew. I knew I had no friends out there. They always tell me later, like, "Hey, I watched your show." I'm like, "Why aren't you guys calling in? What's going on?" You know, I'm struggling out here. You see me floundering, so you should be calling in, saying like, "What?" Giving me some feeding me up some stuff. Anyway, whatever. That's just how it rolls sometimes. And let's see, would we have any other major political dramas in the last week? Nothing crazy, right?
Decriminalization for 18 to 21.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I was kind of confused. I saw that this morning where I saw decriminalized in Denver, and I was like, what does that even mean? But it's for 18 to 21.
It's because there's a middle.
Yeah.
People are still getting in trouble.
Yeah.
In that gap. So
Well, there you go. Now we have just become the extra coolest city in the country because we even acknowledge the gap of 18 to 21, which has always been there. For alcohol has always been there, for all these things. And it's always been like, hey, wait a minute, I'm allowed to do this, but I'm not allowed to do that. It doesn't really make sense, especially when one is really serious, you know what I mean? Like go to war or major things you could do. But when it's something that they tell us is, they're trying to pretend like it's not so bad, but yet what are they trying to save us from? Who knows? Aha, there he is. Limping in here.
Stumble.
In his socks. Socko vision.
Cast off, man. It's a race. I'm not on, but that's okay. There we go.
Yeah, you're on.
Maybe? Okay, there we go.
There we go. So Warren has just joined us from the far reaches of the offices here.
Yeah, 10 feet away. I can't tell how long the delay is, but you guys were talking about the recent vote on minors in Denver.
Yeah, we were just because I didn't even know what it meant. I saw it this morning. I was like, wait a minute, isn't it decriminalized already? But then he explained it was for that gray area, which is pretty cool.
Bingo, because until they clarified the gray area, you could be fined up to $999, and and
you're not in that age group where you're like that doesn't really hurt.
That really hurts in that 18 to 21-year-old age group. Not that it doesn't hurt in the 47-year-old age group.
It hurts,
but
Oops, yeah.
it hurts all over the place. But yeah, it's nice to have them even that up, and it was quite nice to have it be unanimous.
Oh, you see, now we get call-ins because you're on.
Well, shit. Somebody to complain about something I did. Great.
Trying to get free advice. I think.
You
Hold
know,
on one
it was
second.
cool.
Let's see, who is that? Who are we now? Who's calling in?
Hey, this is Scotty Real. What's going on, y'all?
Hey, what's going on?
Not much, man. Not much. I wanted to see about if you guys had any experience or advice with self-watering pots.
In the
Not me.
In the sense of like ones you program.
Throwing weed in them, man.
Yeah, but you mean like programming something and having it water, or you're talking about like watering from the bottom, like kind of passive?
Watering from the bottom, yeah.
Okay, so like a passive. Yeah, they're good for like I would say like if you're in a basement situation and you can't really get to things and it's real tight or something like that, and you can kind of like, it's all about timing with those things because you can't overdo it because otherwise they just suffocate and kind of die. So you have to kind of be on it with them because a lot of times they become anaerobic because of the stuff sitting there too long. So you got to be careful with you don't want it to be like a pool of just sitting there and the plant's kind of
sure.
So it has to either. Yeah, go ahead.
I've been playing with them for a while. I love the idea. I go on vacation. I go down to Florida all the time. I come back and my plants are dead. Imagine that. My wife didn't water them for me. So
Right.
I got tired of that stuff. I started looking for some kind of solution. And I've been playing with them for about 6 months. I had mixed results, but starting to get them to rock now.
Right, nice. Are they so they're designed by somebody, or they're like ones you built yourself?
You
or?
know what, man? When I went to Maximum Yield, I actually went to Maximum Yield in Michigan, in Novi, and I hooked up with this guy. He has octopots, they're called.
Mm-hmm.
It was a cool concept, man. It's like a 6-gallon reservoir at the bottom, and it's big enough. It's fat enough. It's probably 6-8 inches tall. I think it holds like 6 gallons of water. I fill them up about halfway, and then I put one of those bubble wands.
Uh-huh.
You're like a 4-foot bubble wand.
Yep.
And man, the thing rocks, man. It's kind of like a passive. I don't know if it's passive. It's like the same kind of roots you get from a deep water culture system, you know?
Right. It's almost like that's
sitting
what I
in water.
say.
You got a bubbler in there. It's pretty badass.
That's what I was kind of saying. It almost sounds like a DWC, but without kind of the ring. Right? Doesn't drip on the ring though, or up and down, right, all the time. It just sort of feeds from the bottom.
Yeah, and it ain't got that Achilles heel, man. I used to do deep water culture back in the day.
Right.
And one thing screws up, your air stone screws up, or the air line gets kicked off, or the water line gets kicked out.
Exactly.
You're done. You
Exactly.
know what I mean?
No, and that's always been my I've had to move systems before that were like mother plants and things, and then by the time I got them to where I needed to get them to, they were more damage was done than good by moving them one time. Whereas if they were on soil, I could have threw them in the back of my car and drove across town and they'd be fine. You know what I mean? So I kind of had that deal too, where I felt like it was too critical, almost like driving a Ferrari to go to school every day. You know what I mean? And you're like, you kind of want to drive a little more dependable car than something that you got to have in the shop every day. You know what I mean? It might sound great and be awesome and go really fast, but it might only go 2 blocks, and then all of a sudden you need a $1,200 oil ring job or something. So I know.
Brother, I like the way you think, man. I like the way you think, man. It's all about getting to a harvest. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Ain't nothing worse than spending $5,000 on equipment and not getting the harvest. You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've also power washed out a couple hundred of those DWC units and like scraped off the calcium deposits and like tried to plug out the holes and did that for like enough times to where the point I just kicked them off to the side and went, fuck it, I'm done with it. You know what I mean? And that's it is. And then I've talked to other people and they're getting, I know people getting over a pound a plant every time they've got their shit dialed up and they're killing it. But at the same time, I always
Ferraris are fast, man.
I always tell him, how is it picking those things up every week? He's like, they look at me like, ugh. If you don't hire somebody else to do it, it's a full-time job. Lift, pull, lift. Well, cool.
Hell yeah, man. Well, just been having some good luck with it, man. I wanted to call in and just
Thanks.
say hello. I dig what y'all are doing.
Hey, thank
Definitely.
you. Thanks for calling. Awesome. And give us an update whenever.
Sure, man. Yeah,
All right.
definitely do that.
Peace, man. Thank you.
Other calls?
That was it.
Hey, never know.
You never know. See? boom, they call right when you don't. That's how it is at my shop too. I always get to work, and then people come in. If I sit around, they just don't want to come in. But if I'm like cleaning something, then they all want to come in. Hey, what are you doing? You're cleaning. It's like, geez, I was just sitting around waiting for you for hours, and then I decided to actually do something on a ladder or something. And now, okay, go ahead.
No, have you guys talked at all about this? Because one of the it almost is like a secret right now, is this weird discussion going on amongst the Denver Police Department and the City Council about what the hell is open and public and how it applies to so many of these events, marijuana events we have in Colorado.
Right.
And so, I have, a recent very odd letter from David Quiones, who's the Denver Police Department's one of their chiefs. And it talks about, we've been working on a question about the proposed events. I won't list the time and location of the event in question. But after discussion with the city attorneys, including in the email addresses below, we have identified several points that may impact the legality of proposed events. I will first summarize the proposal as presented by you and to ensure that I have the correct information. And this is about an event that was supposed to be private invitation only. It was going to provide transportation to the guests, and it was kind of back and forth. And the police indicated that the question you had is whether or not this is legal. We are still researching the matter, but I have identified several points that may impact the legality of the event. 1, the Colorado Clean Air Act. 2, liquor license laws. 3, open container laws. And then the catch-all by the police. There may be other laws that may come into play. So just giving people a heads up without getting in too much into the dirty details that this is being discussed by the city right now, kind of underground, and going back forth with the city council. And hopefully this will get straightened out pretty quick and in a manner that works for the cannabis community. Because right now it's looking a little scary in terms of what the city thinks it can do.
Sure.
And you're, of course, hearing me say thinks,
as
opposed to what they really might be able to do.
Right. And also, the point being that pretty much at all these events that they've ever questioned probably have never had any kind of dramas or anything, whereas if you have all these events that we all know about and or just even football games and shootings and all sorts of stuff going down. And it's like, okay, these are the most policed, regulated, highly regulated facilities in all of the town. And they can't control their thing, yet we have these things which haven't been regulated, and we haven't had a problem because we self-regulate. And if something happens, we don't go running off and make a big drama out of it because it's not usually a problem. It's usually, some sugar water, and we're good to go. And the party keeps rolling, and everybody goes.
Well, and this seems to be more coming from the venue owners themselves, in terms of worried that there'll be an impact on them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this appears to have also raised an issue with the Clean Air Act, and that some of the venues might not have been abiding by the Clean Air Act with tobacco.
Right.
And so it could have a weird impact on some of the bars that have been playing a little loosey-goose with cigarettes.
Yeah.
But I guess we're going to see, and more I wanted to make your listeners aware that this is being discussed hotly and heavily on a daily basis right now, because this email's, I think, from yesterday.
Right. No, and I mean, that's part of this whole regulating cannabis-like alcohol thing, where there's got to be some questions in play about a lot of these things, because even with the packaging, I'm like, okay, so the packaging for cannabis needs to be child-proof, but child-resistant, but yet
nothing's child-proof, apparently.
Okay, child-resistant, but almost all alcohol is not even remotely child-resistant. It's like, oh, that's a bottle. You open it up like this. That's a can. You open it up like that. You're like, so what do we? Wait a minute. That's not regulating it like that at all. You know what I mean? So there's these weird okay, well, how come that one's like that and that one's not like that? So there is, even though that's I don't mind them saying you'd have to do it because technically it just opens up a new business for some other guy who's like, oh, I make tamper-proof whatevers. But at the same time, what are we really trying to protect kids from? From benign substance compared to dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, a 1.5
bottle of
Everclear.
I can
grape vodka.
I can take
sit down and chug it and die.
Everclear has a really easy to open top. It's like one of those extra long tops that are click. You can just pop it open and because you don't want, they obviously don't expect you to chug the whole thing down. They want, you're going to be opening it and closing it. So those have, the only thing that holds you back from that is a piece of paper, which is the tax stamp, and that's it. So if you can break through a tax stamp, you're good to go. You know what I mean? So there's not even like a hard to cut off top on those things when you buy them. It's crazy. So
it is totally nuts. And I mean, you go through even the over-the-counter drugs that can kill you dead. How often are those not in a child-resistant packaging? Or, I guess bleach isn't it?
No,
I don't know. I thought it had a funky top.
Maybe.
But
they
you
have
have to push down. And of course, my kid opens it, but
Yeah. Well, bleach ain't that bad either.
You drink it, it would not be good for you.
It's not good, but it won't kill you. It's not that bad.
It won't? I thought it would.
I don't
but
think so. I don't think so.
Where's the doctor?
A
When
good
we need him?
swig, not a swig. Come on, everyone can handle a swig.
Next week's test, Adam's going to drink bleach, and we'll see what happens.
Hey, could work. So that's and so okay. So we had good news and we had bad news all in one time. So I knew he was going to be a Debbie Downer. I knew it.
I always am. That's my job.
I was like, what's he doing running in here? Wait, we said something. We said something that was not. I was all excited. Yeah, 18 to 21.
Well, no, that was I said that was positive.
And then it was like
I was actually positive about something for a change. Then it just delved into this party crap.
Boo.
Partly me trying to get the word out because it surprises me. No, it doesn't because they aren't talking about it openly. That most folks don't know that this discussion is happening.
Yeah, no, and that is, and the funny part is that wouldn't it be shouldn't it be? I mean, obviously, you said it was the owners of the venues that might be, and they're just doing it because they're concerned because they get told. It's just like when somebody tells you, you're having a party in your place. Well, if somebody here gets into an accident, they're gonna. And I mean, it does happen, but as you're a lawyer, you do know that does, but not like on a regular. It's like it doesn't happen like every week. A bar gets shut down because a guy has a car accident.
No,
I don't think it happens very often ever.
I almost said unfortunately, but
right. But I don't. I mean, and it's like one of those things. As an owner of a venue, you should understand that. Blah blah blah. But a lot of people. I mean, it's also one of those things where you're like, okay, I heard about it. Never actually heard about it though. So.
Well, at the point they start talking about yanking your liquor license, that will catch a lot of bar owners' attention because bars don't make much money without a liquor license.
No, and that's what I mean. They got you, but it's the same like back in the day with alcohol ages and when you had Vermont saying, well, whatever, we're 18, but they're like, okay, well, we're not going to work on your roads. And they're like,
you lose your highway funds.
And they're like, well, we don't care because look at our roads anyway. They're crap.
There's only like 3.
Yeah. So they didn't. So
that's where I grew up. So yeah, I know it far too well.
Right. So they knew they didn't care, and then they didn't get their roads done. And you would but you'd notice it when you cross the town line. You'd be able to cross the city. State line, you'd be like,
I actually lived in Hanover, New Hampshire, so we'd cross the bridge, Ledged Bridge, to get into Vermont. Because I was the last high school class where half of us could legally drink as seniors in high school, and the other half of the class couldn't, which created such an interesting mix.
Oh yeah, it's always good. I was always at the cusp too of things like that, like it's over this time, and you're the last ones, and
then get to go to college in Florida, and well shit, I can't buy booze anymore. But
right,
yeah.
But you're in Florida, so there you go.
Yeah,
no way.
No comment.
What year were we talking about?
Well, I said, Florida in the 80s. Miami Vice days.
I was like,
that's a whole other issue.
82 or something?
So, I had to actually dredge out my old suit from the 80s in the neon green for the party the other night for Mile High Wellness.
And it was actually your actual suit?
Yeah, from the 80s. Wow. My family makes suits in Europe, and for some Miami hurricane event or something. My grandfather was one of the bad fundraisers for the University of Miami that, back in the day where they kind of all got in trouble. I had to go to events for that. And so they made me a suit.
Neon green.
Well, it's more that lime, that light, the pastel 80s thing.
That's funny. Photos. We need photos of that one for sure.
No, you can, and I'm trying to get Dee to go as whatever, Crockett and Tubbs next year for Halloween. We'll see.
Yeah, that would be good.
Anyway.
I would like that.
I'll stop being Debbie Downer and get back to my other job. But
being everyone else's Debbie Downer.
Yeah, exactly. Call and tell a bunch of people
occasionally
stuff they don't want to hear.
Yeah, I know, for sure. Well,
Dude,
then again,
what you're doing isn't exciting. But anyway.
It's those victories, though, that win, right? It's those occasional victories.
What the hell's today? The 17th, 18th? I mean, it's not too many days till people can come from all over the world. And if they're over 21, Hopefully there'll be a store in Denver that'll actually be open that they can buy recreational weed in.
Yeah, it's going to be like, I don't know.
Of course, there's nowhere for them to go and smoke it.
I know.
And
I know. It's definitely that. And then that's where I think that maybe this whole reality check of them, if they're going to start complaining about what we're already doing here locally, just on our own for our own people. Imagine when all these people from out of town come.
Mhm.
It's like either A, we look like Amsterdam, where it's like, so wait a minute, you're telling me you're allowed to smoke it, but you're not allowed to grow it, and there's nowhere to buy it. But these people have it. So where does it come from? And it's coming from Morocco, and it's coming from Nepal, and it's coming from all these other countries, which are obviously being smuggled in illegally, sold legally. So it made no sense. You know what I mean? So that's the reason that the whole house of cards kind of comes down when anybody with a half a brain looks at it and says, well, so there's no supply chain that's legal? That doesn't make sense. And over here, they actually recognize the supply chain, which I totally agree is the way you should go about it. But now they're on the opposite end, where Amsterdam, all they do is have places where you can smoke it. So, and here we have nowhere you can smoke it, but yet we have all these places you can buy it, technically, maybe at some point. And then you also have, like, you know, you're talking about a huge tourism that with a giant gap hole that will be like probably the biggest part of the tourist side is the consumption, not the purchasing even of the actual cannabis. Because if you buy, say you buy $20 worth of cannabis or $30 or $40, that could last an average person who's not a big heavy smoker a week or a month. Sometimes, you know, some people will be like, this will last me a month, because you don't realize how little these people need to get high. So technically they come here, they spend $40 in a store. If that's all the money that we are going to get, besides them going to a hotel and going to a place and then wondering where they're going to smoke. Whereas if you got them into a place to safely smoke off the street, nobody smells it anywhere because they're in a nice, well-ventilated building with lots to do, a person on hand in case something goes wrong, like they have a little panic attack because they've never smoked and they're from, you know, some Mormon family and they freak out and they have some sort of religious experience or something like that.
The Mormon stoners are going to flood the state.
Well, that can happen for sure. But usually only once. And then, you know, and this is like, I mean, I've seen people do that off of regular weed. Imagine when it's concentrates. Imagine all these. So
well, how about being able to buy like 7 grams of concentrate?
Exactly. And then where do you consume it? How do you consume it? That's going to be the number one question. And people are going to go, oh, you can go to this store and you can buy all this equipment. It will cost you $250 for a rig. It'll cost you another, you know, $30 for this, $40 for that.
Little poker thing.
So you spent like $1,000 now, and you still don't have a place to consume
Don't take it home.
And you can't technically take it back with you. So you're kind of like in this weird conundrum where you're like, okay, so technically I can get it, I can't smoke it. You don't want me to take it home, but you're not giving me anywhere to smoke it. So you have to give an option. Otherwise, there's like you're creating you're actually going to create criminals out of people, just on de facto of whatever. They just can't do anything. Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna throw away the 7 grams of concentrate you just spent $250 on? No. So can you smoke it all in a week? Probably not. So what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? So they're kind of like, eh. And then technically, if they would just allow a spot where everyone could go, you don't have to actually sell it there. So I mean, that's the thing, is as long as you don't sell it maybe on the same place that you consume it, shouldn't be a problem. I would think, you know, because then there's not like so you just say like, okay, here's 10 stores all within a 10-block radius. We all rent a building together. It's free to all of our customers. They have a card you can swipe it to get into the building. No one who's not a customer can get into the building, you know what I mean? And even, you know, to do it like that. There's a lot of ways we can get around it, I'm sure, at some point.
Tons. And what's really going to happen is the hotels are going to make a killing off that $250 smoke cleaning charge or whatever that
times
is.
10,000 a day.
Well, seriously.
I mean, $2.5 million a day in cleaning charges.
Because, I don't know where else, the tourists are going
How do we invest in that?
Exactly. We need to
start
making those machines.
Start making cleaning services for hotel rooms that scrub the Scrub-O-Matic 12,000.
But you also brought up an interesting point, though. I mean, right now, for the last 2-3 years, Coloradoans have been terrified about leaving the state because it seems every time you drive out of this state, you get pulled over for stupid shit, and then they're searching your car.
Sure.
Why? Because they think every Coloradoan is leaving the state with weed.
Right.
Well, after January 1st, I'm guessing the cops in Kansas and Utah and Oklahoma and Wyoming are going to switch that and assume that everybody leaving the state with out-of-state plates is going to be hauling weed, and it'll be interesting to see.
Basically, everybody leaving the state
change
is what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, and so
it's just like if you just do not leave the state.
Goodland, Kansas is either going to make a killing off us, or it's going to be overwhelm the police force.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I don't know how long it's going to last. I figure like a 2 to 3 year point before it hits them from behind, where they don't realize that they think they're fighting the good fight, but now the word comes down from above, hey, we're switching gears, we're losing $14 billion a year in all this crap. Whatever money we're making off of busting people is not worth it, because most of them are getting off because of their medical conditions anyway, and we're busting all these people who are actual, you know what I mean? Because this is going to be like situations where...
Look, so this is going to be recreational stoners, man.
Some will be, but some I'm saying there'll be some they'll think they're going to think everyone's recreational, and they're going to start busting everybody, I think. They'll try to. And then they're going to end up pulling a lot of people in who have legitimate stories, and their cases are going to get built up, and it's going to be like they can't say every single person's guilty and think they're going to get, like, they're going to be able to maintain it, because they won't. You know what I mean? They'll get crushed on their own weight, under their own weight, which probably wouldn't take much. You know what I mean? Because
particularly in some of these smaller communities,
because they don't have the infrastructure. They're not set up. They're like, this is our 47th one this week. And it's like they can't deal with it. So technically, and I think also in the reality of the fact that families from Utah are moving here with their kids by the droves, there's tons of them.
Well, not just Utah, Florida,
everywhere,
East Coast, all over.
But just Utah alone, hundreds of families.
Yep.
And because I always emphasize the fact that their families are quite large in Utah, very large families.
No comment.
Very large families. So the reality would be that there's probably a higher chance even than normal that you'd have a situation of one of your kids being autistic when your numbers are that high,
Yep.
So you're like, hey, I've got 27 kids. Guess how many are autistic? A lot. I can't even keep up. You know what I mean? So the reality is, if they hear miracle cures for, like, imagine if you have like 2 or 3 kids in a family that are all different types of autism, but one, going into seizures, and then you're gonna, any of those kind of situations, you're gonna, as a parent, you're going to go like 100%. I don't care what the laws are. I'm going there. It's where is it? It's 70 miles that direction. We're going. You know what I mean? So they're going to come. They already are, and they're already making possible clauses there to, like, well, maybe we should allow the CBDs for the kids, and it's all going to get to the
except
point
in
where,
New Jersey.
Yeah, but even I say even in Utah, where they're talking like about it now, like so that's that makes it so that it could just, like, it can catch them from like all sides, where they're like, oh, I guess we're not busting hippies anymore. We have to move on to something new. It's like,
Utah's always interesting because it's like the home of all the alternative drugs. I mean, there are a number of the manufacturers of echinacea and all those kind of on the edge drugs. That's a huge thing in Utah. And so, this is an interesting twist to that.
Totally. And of course, they don't want to get left out, so they'll love the idea that a CBD could be extracted and taken away from the plant, and we can somehow turn that now and still get the benefits without having to worry about, what, now you're bum rushing us instead of calling in?
Hey, man. Well, I'll let you guys party, because I have got to head back and actually do work.
Is it a birthday today? Is it his birthday? Oh,
his
see,
birthday.
He didn't even tell me. Here I was razzing him on his birthday.
He needs a good
birthday.
Yeah,
nice candles.
Well, have a good rest of the show, guys.
Hey,
I will
thank
talk
you.
to you later, and happy
Thanks for the
birthday
update.
to the
As
producer.
always, Warren Edson updating us with
Negative stuff.
melodramatic negative stuff to bum us out. Thanks a lot there,
You're
Warren.
welcome.
You're doing your job. Doing your job. What's that? End the show now? No, you have to birthday. We're gonna do happy birthday and then end the show. Come on now, get the cameras. Get the cameras. Burns, live burns. Oh my God.
You better hurry up and blow these out and make a wish.
Hurry up. Square go. Okay. Whoa. Line it up. Sing it. Come on.
Happy birthday to you. You guys gotta sing too. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear studio producer Christian.
Yes. Too much. Yeah. There you go.
Happy birthday to you.
Unbalanced.
Woo!
So thank you guys. A totally surprise birthday to me too. I didn't even know. And we got to see it blow out twice on the screen. So it's like an A-team explosions. See you guys.
I love it when a plan comes together.
There you go, just like the A-team. So see you guys next week. I will hopefully have some real guests besides just people bum rushing me and
depressing
Warren news. No, thank you, Warren. We need depressing news sometimes to set us in our place. Happy birthday to Chris, and not to you. For you're not. It's not your birthday. See you guys next week.